camera on?
Yeah, now go on.
All right, part 2 to the story I told earlier. The Green Lawn Cemetery story. Okay, well, Green Lawn Cemetery. Now, this time, I was intelligent enough to not go into the cemetery, and I parked on the bluffs across the street from the cemetery. But my friends wanted to go. I was with a whole bunch of friends, and they wanted to go down on the bluffs and drink liquor and follow the trail. Okay. Now, I thought it would be okay because we're on public land. We're not on private land. We're not in the cemetery. We're not at the cemetery. But I felt really, once we got out there, I felt really uneasy about going out there. I just felt funny. So I decided I didn't want to leave my car on the bluff alone. So I decided I would stay with the cars and everyone else could go down the trail. But I'm not very good at walking anyway. So I decided I'd stay on the trail with the cars and they could go down the trail and do the thing. So I stayed with the cars because I like to do my puzzle books anyway and listen to music. And I was just going to sit there, listen to music, and do my puzzle book. Now, mind you, I'm listening to some pretty loud music because I'm on a bluff and across the street is just a cemetery and they're not going to mind loud music. There's no houses nearby, so I had no reason to not listen to. On one side of me was bluffs and an empty canyon. On the other side of me is Green Lawn Cemetery, which is miles and miles long. No people and ghosts, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so I'm listening to my music pretty loud. And over my music, I hear this weird sloshing noise. It's weird. And it kind of sounded like, you guys are going to call me crazy, but it kind of sounded like a diver in a wetsuit with his little thingies they wear when they're diving. You know, what are they called? Those thingies they wear. I don't remember what it's called. The thingies, little thingies on their feet to make them swim better. And it kind of sounded like those, that somebody was walking in those because the way they were walking. And that's what I kind of thought it was at first, you know, somebody like that. But then I heard this howling. Now you probably say, well, that's normal, but not in Bakersfield. It's not, because we live in town, and there was no coyotes and shit down there. There's nothing like that. There's no coyotes and wolves. There's nothing like that in Bakersfield. And I heard this howling, this howling, and I'm like, what the heck? That's weird. But I'm on the bluff, so I'm thinking maybe in the canyon there is howling. But this didn't sound like it was from the canyon. This sounded like it was coming from the cemetery. But it's nighttime and it's dark, and I'm thinking maybe the wolves do run through the cemetery. It's a possibility. But we know for a fact that coyotes would not have been sloshing in a diving suit walking. And it sounded like every time I turned the music down, it kept sounding like it was getting closer and closer and closer. Because it was actually getting louder and louder and louder. And so what I did, because I was waiting for my friends still, you know, I kept turning my music louder and louder and louder. You know, I'm drawing it out. And I just kept putting off like it's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing, you know, it's nothing, it's nothing. And but it wasn't nothing. It was something. And so finally this noise was like right like 10 feet from my car. And that's when I actually started my car. And I was done. And I was going to leave. Now, just as I started my car and I was done and I was going to leave, my friends show back up. And they're like, did anything weird happen up here? And I'm like, well, I'm going to be honest. I lied. I said, no. I didn't want to sound, ridiculous. So I said, no, everything's, well, kind of normal. And they're like, kind of normal? I'm like, well, I've been hearing this weird noise, but not really. Just I've been hearing a weird sound. I'm kind of nervous, and I think we should go. And they're telling me that when they went down the trail, not only did they not see coyotes or wolves, but they said they saw strange people on the trail that just kept disappearing. And I'm like, and they asked me, they said, did anybody come up here from the trail? No. I've been up here all morning, all night. No, nobody came up. No, nobody came up. You guys were the only ones I seen. And they're like, there was like people down there, and they came up this way. We followed them. And I'm like, no, I would have seen them. It's not possible. I would have seen them. They're not here. He's like, but they come up. No, they didn't come up. There's nobody here. So we decided that was good enough. We should leave. And as we pull the cars out, no lying, we saw a bunch of people standing by the bluffs. And I don't know if those were real people or not real people. I don't know. That's the truth. I don't know. But I do know that there was nobody behind my car. And there was nobody making that sloshing noise. Because whatever was making that noise, I couldn't see at all. So that's part 2 to the first story that I told. And of course, I was about 23 when that happened. So that's part 2.